Do you ever look at your life and think, this isn't where I thought I'd be by now? You're trying really hard at life, you have goals you want to achieve, but you're still left feeling behind. You feel behind everyone else. This video is for you. Building the life of your dreams is hard. It takes time, it takes effort, and it has a lot of ups and downs. It can be really normal to feel discouraged, unmotivated, hopeless, stuck. Sometimes you just feel like everyone's moving faster than you. Everyone's hitting milestones, before you do. You turn 25 and you're supposed to, gotten a great job, be putting a down payment on a house, finding your significant other, getting married, whatever. All these societal milestones that you grew up thinking you'd have. And maybe you have some of them, maybe you have none of them. At the end of the day, if you're feeling behind, it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal to feel behind looking around at some other people who have achieved the goal that you want to achieve yourself. The good news is there's some mindset shifts that can help you to get out of this slump when you're feeling, so down about your life, like you're so behind and you just want to give up. I can't stop you from having those feelings. I have those feelings too. Sometimes you just have bad days. It is what it is. But these are some things that can help you to shift your mindset or help you to get out of that slump and start feeling positive about your life again. One problem is that it's really easy to focus on this gap of where you are versus where you want to be. But by fixating on what you don't have or what you want, you're ignoring your whole past. You're ignoring what you have achieved, what you did accomplish, the goals you did want and you got. You need to remember what you've accomplished in life so far, because some of those things can be very big goals that felt the same as you're feeling now about the things you want, but you did manage to achieve those. And it's been a while, it's been a long time, you've kind of forgotten about that. And this can be anything. Maybe you're like, Morgan, I don't have anything that I've accomplished. I'm such a loser. Because when you're in this slump, it's really easy to spiral into all these negative thoughts about yourself and thinking that you haven't done anything, you suck, you're such a loser. I promise it's not true. There's always something you've accomplished. It can be something like getting your first job. That was a big accomplishment at the time. Probably you were pretty nervous, you'd never done an interview before, but you landed the job, you got it. Even if it was just, a minimum wage working at McDonald's job, it doesn't matter. That's still something to be proud of. You did it. Learning a new skill. Maybe it's just reading more books, working out more, anything that takes self-discipline, motivation, just any small thing. It doesn't have to be something that society says was such a big deal. You just need to think about what was a big deal to you at the time and what did you accomplish that meant so much to you. Whether it meant anything to anyone else doesn't matter. It's about you and how that accomplishing that goal made you feel. One thing you can do is go back through your phone, through your camera roll, and look at the pictures from the past 5 to 10 years and see what's on there. See what you've accomplished. And remember any small trips you took. It can just be a day trip around your city. It doesn't matter. That can help you remember you have done something. You have had some good times. Oh, I went to the movies with my friend. That's not doing nothing. You're not, a loser. You're not completely wasting your life away, rotting in bed, right? Just think about anything you've done, any small things, and kind of compile those, and you can see, actually, I did have a pretty good year. I did have a pretty good few months. Oh, I have done a lot of stuff, actually. Normally, I guarantee you've done more than you thought you did. You just need to remember it and think about it, which is hard to do when you're in this slump. Because these things, they don't feel significant now, but they definitely felt significant back then. And for any kind of goals or accomplishments you achieved that took a lot of effort, it proves that you can do hard things, that you can accomplish your goals. And it's really easy these days to go on social media and compare yourself to other people. This is, I feel like, a lot of times what makes you feel so left behind. Sometimes maybe your friends or peers, coworkers, whoever, are reaching goals that you thought you would already have reached by now. But I feel like it's still kind of minimal compared to what you see online. Definitely when you go on social media, you're looking for and your algorithm's feeding you what you want to see, which a lot of times is what our goals are, what our dream life looks like, right? For me, I want to travel. So I see people that are traveling to other places and I'm like, oh, why can't I do that? I don't have the time. How do these people afford that? How do they get time off work? And it gets me in this mindset, this trap of like, oh, I suck. I'm so behind. These people have gotten to have all these experiences that I don't have. And that's a really bad negative place to be. I have to think about my life leading up to now. Sure, maybe if I'd made some other choices, I could be living that life too, but the chance is pretty small, and that's not how my life went, and I can't change my life, right? So this is the kind of mindset shift you need to have, which is what has been your life up to now. You can't change your past decisions. You can only change your future decisions, the way you show up for yourself every day. So there's no point in comparing your now to someone else's now when they have already done the work to get themselves there, or it might be fake. That's another thing with social media, is so many people are showing the highlights of their life. You don't always know what's going on behind the scenes, especially with social media, but even with people in real life. Oh, somebody took a trip, but it put them in more credit card debt or put them into credit card debt. They didn't actually have the money for it, but you don't know that because they're not sharing that with you, right? Or people online are like showing all these clothes they got, shoes, handbags, makeup, whatever, the newest things. They're always telling you, you need this. This is the best thing ever. All this new stuff. It's always being thrown at you. There's advertisements everywhere. It's really easy to feel left out. I feel left out sometimes too. But again, what you need to remember is people were gifted these items by companies in order to advertise them to audiences, or sometimes people, they order stuff from companies or like Amazon, and then they show it online and they return it. They just show it to make it seem like they're living this lifestyle, or they buy it in order to advertise it to you, to promote their affiliate link or whatever. And then they return it. They don't actually have the money for it either. The point is, social media tends to be more of a lie, where we just show the highs. We don't show the highs and lows. So it kind of just feeds you a certain story. It doesn't feed you the whole big picture. Or people don't talk about how they actually got to where they are when they're showing off all these flashy things, or like, oh, we just bought a house, we just bought a new car, and it's like super fancy. You don't need to compare yourself to that. That's what you want. That's great. But you need to figure out how you're going to get yourself there. Stop focusing on this lack of not having it right now, right in this moment. And another thing to remember is that you need to define your personal goals. So sometimes what you see online, it just makes you feel like you need that, you want that. And it doesn't have to be items like clothes, makeup, whatever. Just like the lifestyle people are living. Like, oh, they're traveling, they're getting to do all these cool experiences, blah, blah, blah. They live in a huge house. I mean, you need to ask yourself, is that even what you want? Some people want that. Some people don't want that. Like, how much of that do you even want? Would you be satisfied with like 1 or 2, good vacations a year? Maybe you travel out of country once a year. Maybe you just get a staycation. Like, some people are okay with that, right? You don't need to be traveling like 6 times a year to other countries, right? Maybe that is your goal. Maybe that's something you really want to do, but not everyone wants that. So you need to kind of take a step back and really define your own goals. Are they actually what you're seeing online, what you're seeing from other people? Is that really your goal? Or do you have like a more specific, personalized goal for yourself that you're working towards? Because that's probably going to be a little bit more achievable than the crazy you see online, the highlights you see online. Because like I said, a lot of that's not even really realistic. And again, you need to zoom back out and look at your life so far and think about, what have you accomplished that meant something to you, even though it's something small compared to what your current goals are now. Another thing you can think about is your old goals that you've accomplished might be somebody else's goals right now. If you posted on social media that you just bought your first car, or you just went on this small trip, or you graduated college, like that, those could be somebody else's dream, somebody else's goals currently. They might be in a way worse situation than you. There's always someone in a way worse situation than you. Maybe someone's just looking to have, a roof over their head, and enough money to feed themselves every single day with some nourishing foods. That's the reality for some people. So we do need to remember sometimes too. It can be helpful to remember, to be grateful for what you have. And it's okay to be grateful for what you have and still want to get better and do better for yourself. I think we should always strive to be better. There's always room for improvements. Stop comparing to people who already have what you want and start comparing to your past self or people who don't even have what you do now, because you've already accomplished so much in their eyes. And for the people that are ahead of you in life and are the same age as you or around the same age, you can't always blame yourself for not being where others your age are. Everyone has a different journey in life and a different experience. And for some people, they did start ahead. Maybe they had wealthier parents, maybe they had better opportunities, access to better opportunities. It happens. We don't all start on the same ground level. Some of us start here, some of us start way down here, and a lot of us start somewhere in the middle. And we all choose different paths to try and get to our goals. And some people reach them faster, some people reach them slower, some people just get lucky, and that's great for them, right? So we can't always just have this feeling of jealousy or resentment towards people who are ahead, or just completely blame ourselves and feel like we're losers because we're not at the same point as these other people our age. Some people, they knew exactly what they wanted really early on and they worked towards it and they picked the exact right path and thing to work towards, and it just worked out for them. And that's pretty lucky. They were pretty smart. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's a smaller majority of people. Like I said, you do need to remember probably the average majority of people your age are in a similar position to you. So try not to focus on what other people have that you want. Because at the end of the day, we all have our own timelines. We all have our own journeys. And there might be a reason. Maybe there's some unknown reason that your life has been like this and not been, going straight toward your goals like you wanted. You can go back and think about too, like all the lessons you've learned from your failures or from just taking it slow. Oh, I picked the wrong path in life. I went for this career and I don't like it and I have to get out of it. Or maybe you've switched careers a couple of times. You've worked a bunch of different jobs. I'm pretty sure you've learned something from all of those experiences, right? So you've gotten more life experience than somebody who just went to college, got one good job, they've been in that job, they got married, they have kids, they have a house, whatever, and they're living a great life and they're happy, but they've also only had this like certain one narrow experience, whereas you've maybe had like a lot of different experiences because you've tried out so many different things. Or you didn't, because maybe you didn't know what you really wanted. Maybe you still don't know what you want. That's okay. But you do have like a big picture goal. You maybe know where you want to get to, but you're not sure how to get there. And that's okay. Nobody's journey is the same. And usually people's journeys are not linear. And also, if you are struggling with these feelings of being behind and not being where you want to be in life, and like your goals are just so hard to achieve, they haven't been easy. Another thing you can remember is that there's a lot of people who aren't even thinking about that. There's lots of people who have the same goals as you, but they don't have any of the drive to accomplish them. They're going to think about that they want that. Oh, I want to buy a house someday. Oh, I want to, get this job, or I want to learn how to do this skill, but they're never going to do it. They're just like, they think about it. They might complain about it, but they don't ever want to take the action. They don't want to take the steps to accomplish their goals. So they may not feel so depressed about their lives because they're not even trying, or they don't spend that much time thinking about it. They want it, but whatever, it's too much work. For people like you that have this drive, have these goals, and you really want to accomplish them, you're really done with being stuck in your life, that's usually why it's easier to feel more hopeless, depressed, stuck, and frustrated. This frustration of being stuck in a life you don't want, or like it's taking forever to reach your goals. That's because you actually have the drive, the passion, and some of the motivation like to do it. You are capable of doing it. You've made the decision you want to do it. You're not just happy to stay dreaming about it forever. You literally want to accomplish it. So remember that. Remember, you're doing better than some people, just mentality wise even. So at the end of the day, just remember you're on this journey to accomplish your goals. It's going to have ups and downs. You need to stop measuring your progress against other people with different goals, different starting points, different resources. Just measure against your own past progress. Remember all your past accomplishments and goals and use that as motivation to help push you forward towards your new ones. Try and remember that other people want to be where you are right now. And feeling behind just means that you are striving for more in life. It means you care about your life. You care about where it's going to end up. So don't forget to recognize how far you've already come and how far you will end up going. As long as you keep pushing towards your goals, you're going to end up there too, because you've already come this far. You just need to make sure you keep believing in yourself. So today I want you to take a few minutes to think about what's something that you have accomplished in the past that felt pretty big to you, that felt like it took time, effort, you were pretty proud of yourself, but that you've forgotten about, you haven't thought about for a long time. It feels pretty insignificant to you now. Think about that, write it down, and try and think about a few other things. And hopefully this helps you to get out of this slump. And just remember to believe in yourself. You got this. And I'll see you in the next video.